Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Unfog with Dr. Atahar Parveen. I am Sabha, and as we all know that teacher recruitment exams notification can be expected soon in Karnataka, and CTET is the eligibility criteria for exams like PSTR and Gpstr. So this upcoming CTET is a very huge golden opportunity for all the aspirants who are preparing for CTET paper 1 and CTET paper 2. We request all of you, please attempt this exam. Please don't miss this chance of your entry to write PSTR and Gpstr. Don't worry if you have not prepared well, because a little more focus in the exam will help you qualify the CTET exam. Okay. So today in this class, I am going to help you all with analyzing the previous year questions, which will surely help in the coming CTET paper 1, CTET paper 2, PSTR and Gpstr for science or the EVS section of these exams. So please watch this class till the end, because this class is going to be very useful for all of you, and we are going to discuss the most expected questions for your coming exams. So let's get started. The first question says, which of the following statements are true? So we have to identify which are the correct statements. So what are these statements? Statement A says algae contains chlorophyll. Statement B says algae can prepare their own food. Statement C says algae do not require water for photosynthesis. Statement D says algae needs oxygen as a raw material for photosynthesis. So we know that they are talking about algae here. So we should know what is algae first, right? So algae actually comes under kingdom Protista. Okay, there is a scientist called R.H. Whittaker. So what did this scientist do? He gave 5 kingdom classification, means he organized all of the animals and plants and all of the organisms that are present on earth into 5 kingdoms. So first kingdom he gave is kingdom Protista. Next kingdom he gave is kingdom Monera. Next kingdom he gave is kingdom Fungi. Another kingdom he gave kingdom Plantae. And another kingdom he gave, which is kingdom Animalia. Okay. So he said that these algae comes under kingdom Protista. Why do they come under kingdom Protista? Because most of the times these algae are unicellular, and they also do not have proper stems or leaves. See, look at this diagram. Do you see any proper stems or leaves here? No. So they do not have proper stems or leaves, and they are unicellular also. So they come under kingdom Protista. Okay. Now if you look at this diagram, they are green in color, no? So why are these green in color? This green color is because of the plant pigment called chlorophyll. Okay. So this green pigment chlorophyll gives green color to these algae. So now what does chlorophyll help in? The chlorophyll helps in the process of photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food. So here what happens is, plant will absorb carbon dioxide, then it will also absorb sunlight. So sunlight we will write it as UV rays. Okay. So sunlight has UV rays, no? So it will absorb sunlight and it will absorb water from the roots and it will help in forming its food. So that food is nothing but glucose only. It is energy material. Okay. So glucose, then along with glucose it will form oxygen, and it will also release water in the form of vapor. So basically water is released from the plant in the form of a gas. Okay. So this is all we need to know about algae. Now let's see what are the statements he has given. Algae contains chlorophyll. Correct option. It is containing chlorophyll, right? Algae can prepare its own food. Correct. Because it has chlorophyll, it can make its own food. Then algae does not require water for photosynthesis. We know that algae requires water for photosynthesis, right? So here we have written in the statement. So this option is wrong. Next we have is algae needs oxygen as a raw material. So raw material means in the beginning only, in the starting of the process, oxygen is required, it seems, which is a wrong option, because in starting only carbon dioxide gas is required for photosynthesis process. So which of the following statements are true? Option A and option B is the correct answer for this question. So while solving such questions, where they are asking which statement is true, which statement is false, when some statement is true, put a tick mark like this beside it. Put a wrong if it is a wrong answer. Okay. Because sometimes what happens is, even if we know the correct answer, we mark the wrong option. So such silly mistakes will not happen if you put a tick mark like this, or if you put a wrong mark like this. Okay. So you will know which actually is the correct option. Like here. Okay. Next question. So this question is asking which part of the plant evaporates water. So there is one part of this plant. Through this it is releasing water vapor in the environment. What is that part he is asking? And options he has given is stomata, branch, fruits and roots. Okay. So I'll first tell you about what is stomata. Okay. So stomata, I can say it is the nose for the plants. We have nose, we breathe through our nose. Like that, the plant breathes through stomata. It is the nose for the plant. So here this opening, as you can see in the diagram, this is the stomata. Okay. So when it is open, it will take in carbon dioxide. Why will it take in carbon dioxide? For photosynthesis. Okay. So this carbon dioxide is taken in through stomata for photosynthesis, and after photosynthesis process is over, it will close. Okay. Because no requirement for carbon dioxide now, no. So it will close and it will give out oxygen and water vapor. Water vapor means water is evaporated in the form of gas, in the form of a vapor. And this process is also known as transpiration. Very important keyword it is. You should remember. So what is transpiration? Transpiration is the process in which the water from the plant is lost in the form of water vapor from the stomata. That is transpiration. So now I think you can answer the question easily, right? So it is asking which part of the plant evaporates water. We have stomata, branch, fruits and roots. Branches and fruits and roots cannot act like a nose, They do not have any opening to exchange gases. So the correct option is stomata. The next question we have is find the odd pair. So some option here is wrongly matched. So we have to find that odd pair. Okay. Odd one out we have to find out. So first we have is stomata is for transpiration. Yes, we read in the last question, that stomata will lose water in vapor form, right? So that is transpiration. So stomata is for transpiration is the correct option. We know that. So this is not the odd one out. The next option we have is xylem is used for transportation of food. Now look at this diagram. We have xylem and phloem. So xylem and phloem, like we humans have so many blood capillaries, Like that, these xylem and phloem are the capillaries for the plant. So this xylem is used for the transportation of water. Okay. And this phloem is used for the transportation of food in the plant. Okay. In xylem, what happens? The water is transported from roots, like roots absorb water, right? We have a plant here, for example. I'll draw a plant. This plant has a flower, it has leaves, and then it has roots. These are roots, right? So now this plant will absorb water. For example, there is water, H2O present here, okay? So this water is absorbed by the roots and then it should go up, right? For the plant to receive the water. So it is called unidirectional movement. Unidirectional movement means the water is transported in only one direction, that is from downwards to upwards. Okay. So xylem is unidirectional. Now we have phloem. Now we said no, after photosynthesis the glucose is prepared by the leaves and then it will go to different parts of the body of the plant. Now how are they going to different parts of the plant? Through phloem. Okay. And leaves are present in so many parts, like different parts of the plant, right? So these leaves will prepare these food material and it will go to different parts of the plant. So because of this the phloem is bidirectional. What is bidirectional? Bidirectional means this food material is transported in both direction, from upward to downward and from downward to upward. In both way, this bidirectional movement of water and food is happening. So why I am saying water and food here is the food that is produced, no, it is present in liquid form, so that movement of food material becomes easy. So that's why it is said water and food. But most, the majority, the main ingredient of what is prepared, no, it is food only. But to make the transportation easy, we have water. We mix food in water and it is transported. So the xylem now we know is for water transportation and phloem we know is for food transportation. Water we know is unidirectional, which means that in one direction only, from downward to upward water will go. And phloem we know it is bidirectional. Bidirectional means it can go from downward to upward or upward to downward, like this arrow marks shown here, no, like that. So now we know that xylem transportation of food is the wrong answer, right? Now third option, it is saying root hairs is used in absorption of water. Correct. These are the root hairs actually. The main root is present here. Wait, I'll show you one more. For example, this is the ground level. Okay. Below ground we have roots, right? So this is the root and this root has several hairs. Right. So these hairs help in more absorption of water. So more absorption of water means the surface area increases. See, it is covering a lot of area here, no? Instead of this only one root covering this much area only, these root hairs are covering more area. Okay. So it absorbs more water. So root hairs help in absorption of water. It is correct option. Next we have is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll helps in photosynthesis, which is also the correct option, right? So the odd pair out is xylem helps in the transportation of food, which is wrong. Xylem helps actually in the transportation of water. Okay. So next question. So flowers which are pollinated by wind often have. So it is asking that flowers which are doing pollination by wind, what are their features? Okay. So for this we'll first look at the diagram of the flower. Now this is a flower, okay. Now this flower, it will have certain reproductive organs, right? So we have anther here and we have a filament here. So this anther and filament are the male reproductive parts of the flower, okay. And then we have here stigma and this stylus and this ovary. These are the female part of the flower. The male part of the flower is known as the androecium. And the female part of the flower is known as gynoecium. Okay. So, in male androecium, we have anther and filament, and in the female gynoecium, we have stigma, style, and ovary. And within this ovary, we have ovules. Okay. Now, for pollination, we need pollen grains, right? Now, what are these pollen grains? Pollen grains means such a small yellow dust particles will be there, no? Dust-like particles in the flower. Those are actually pollen grains, and those pollen grains are very important for reproduction to happen. That reproduction is known as fertilization. Okay. So, now fertilization means the pollen grain from the anther and the ovules from the ovary, they will come together and they will make a seed. Now this seed, when it is planted in the soil, it will create a new plant, right? So that is the fertilization and the reproduction part. In the fertilization, we have pollen grains with ovary, and that will give seed. Then that is the reproduction. Okay. Now this pollination can happen by many factors, like it can happen by wind, it can happen by bees, honeybees, they do the pollination very well. Then we have butterflies also, animals, birds. So there are various organisms or factors that are involved in the pollination. Now he is asking what are the features of the plant which are pollinated by wind. For pollination by wind to occur, no, this anther part, this is the zoomed version of anther. Now this anther should contain full of pollen grains. So what will happen, because it is wind, no, we do not know if it will actually reach the stigma, and we have to increase the chances of fertilization to happen, right? So this anther is full of pollen grains. Very many pollen grains are present. Okay. And now this should be open to the wind. The wind should carry the pollen grains, right? So for this to happen, these anthers are present in the open form. They are not hidden by the petals of the flower. They are openly present. Okay. And it is present in the loose manner also, which means if wind will come, no, it will lose the pollen grains from it. So like that they are present. Okay. So what will happen after this? The pollen grains are released from the anther of the flower. It will go and sit on the stigma of some other flower, and they are absorbed by the style of the flower, and it takes fertilization here. The ovules, these small ovules are present, no? These ovules along with pollen grains will form a seed. Okay. So this is the process of pollination and fertilization. Now we all know. So let's look at what are the options given here. We have large and feathery stigma is present, it seems. Why we need large and feathery stigma? This is the stigma, right? Why we need large and feathery stigma? We need large and very heavy pollen grain loaded anther we need, right? So this is the wrong option. Next we have is long stamens and pistils. So why we need long stamens and pistils? Now here he has given this filament, no? This filament, this long tube like structure, this is also known as stamens. Okay. So if it is long, no, then wind will carry the pollen grains easily, right? It will not be covered by the petals of the flower, and pollen grains will be carried away by the wind easily. So we need long filaments or long stamens, right? And long pistils means this female reproductive part here, no? The style part and the stigma part, these are also long so that they can catch the pollen grains from the wind easily. So he's saying that we need long stamens and long pistils, which is the correct option, right? So if they are in longer proportion, they can easily catch the pollen grains, right? But let's see what are the other options also. Small number of pollen grains are present. Why? How? We need large number of pollen grains, right? So that there is an increased chance of pollination to happen. So this is the wrong option. less exposed anthers are present, which is again the wrong option only. We said no, these anthers, this orange color part of the flower, it should not be hidden by the petals. It should remain open for the wind to carry the pollen grains, right? So this is also the wrong option. So the correct answer is long stamens and pistils. Okay. Next question. The next question says photosynthesis in plants is dependent on the following factors except. So the question is saying there is one factor from the following options that will not affect photosynthesis. We have to find that option. Okay. So we studied photosynthesis earlier, right? What did we say in photosynthesis? That that the plant will take in carbon dioxide, it will take in water from the roots of the plant, and then in the presence of sunlight, it will give food, which is the glucose, and it will also give out water vapor, and most importantly it will also give out oxygen, right? So some of the factors are actually these only, the initial raw materials that the plant is using, no, like the carbon dioxide, water, sunlight. These are actually the factors that will affect the photosynthesis process. And also one more thing we are forgetting, chlorophyll should be there, no? Chlorophyll is the major plant pigment, green colored plant pigment, right? That will help in the photosynthesis process. Without this, the photosynthesis cannot happen only. So chlorophyll is also one of the most important factor for the process of photosynthesis. Now let us keep all four of these in mind, and we'll see what are the options. Okay. First option says intensity, duration and quality of light. Yes, we have sunlight here, no? So for how much time the sunlight is there and with how much intensity, like if it is a very sunny day, more photosynthesis will happen. If it is there are clouds in the sky, there is not much sunlight, no? So less photosynthesis will happen, right? So the amount of sunlight present and the duration and the quality of the sunlight will affect the photosynthesis process. So option 1 is correct. Now availability of the sufficient carbon dioxide and water. Yes, we need carbon dioxide and water in good amounts, no, for photosynthesis to happen. So this also we require, correct, no? Then we have content of chlorophyll and the structure of the leaves. So yes, we know that chlorophyll is necessary for the photosynthesis to happen. Now structure of the leaves, it is saying, no, sometimes some leaves are very big, sometimes some leaves are very small. So big leaves will have more chlorophyll and it can absorb a lot of sun rays from the sun, no? So more photosynthesis will occur. But small leaves, they have small surfaces, they'll have less amount of chlorophyll in them. They'll absorb only 2 to 3 rays of sunlight, like that, like less amount of sunlight they will absorb, right? So structure of leaves will also affect the photosynthesis of the plants. So this is also correct option, like this is a factor that will affect the process of photosynthesis. Now fourth option, presence of other species of trees in the surrounding. Why? Because of other trees, how will it affect photosynthesis? It doesn't matter, no, which species or which type of trees are around the plant. We require only sunlight, water and carbon dioxide and chlorophyll, right? So the presence of other species of trees in the surrounding will not affect the process of photosynthesis, correct? Now see this diagram. This is a very nice diagram. Now here we have the flower, right? This flower will take in sunlight, it will take in carbon dioxide, it will take in water from roots, then it will form sugars. Sugars means glucose, the food material for the plant after photosynthesis. Then it will give out oxygen also. Then a little amount of water vapor is also given out. So these are the factors. How will the presence of other species in the surrounding affect the photosynthesis for this plant? Correct, no? So this is the wrong option. This is the odd one out. and fourth option should be the correct option then. Okay. The next question says carrot, radish, sweet potatoes are the modifications of. So what part of the plant these are? This carrot, radish and sweet potatoes, these are what part of the plant this question is asking. Okay. Option 1 says stems, option 2 says roots, option 3 says buds, option 4 says branches. Okay. So let's see. We all know what does a carrot look like. First we'll see carrot. Carrot is grown below the ground, right? And this is the carrot and these root hairs will be present. Now this carrot and similarly we have radish also. Radish also looks something like carrot only, right? And sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes also grows below the ground. So this is what carrot, radish, and this is actually turnip. Turnip is also a type of vegetable, and sweet potatoes. So these all actually grow below the ground. Okay. So this is assume the ground level. These vegetables will grow below the ground level, right? And these small tiny hairs you see, no, these are actually root hairs. And this carrot body, this radish body and this turnip body, and same way the sweet potato will also look something like this only with root hairs on it. Okay, so this body is actually the root of the plant. It will absorb water for the plant to grow. So this carrot, radish, turnip and sweet potatoes that we are eating, we are actually eating the roots of the plant. Okay, so these are the modifications of root. So this should be the correct answer. Like the same way, the root modifications we have, no? We have a stem modifications also. In the stem modifications, we have this ginger example, onion, potato. This is the taro root. Taro root means in Hindi we call it tarvi. Okay. That is also a stem modification actually. So stem modification means when we eat these vegetables, no, we are actually eating the stem part of the plant. These tiny hairs are here, no? These are actually the roots. These will grow below the ground. Now this body is there, no? This main body part, this is the stem of the plant. And we are eating that stem part of the plant. So these are the stem modifications. In stem modifications, best examples are ginger, onion, the taro root or arvi we call in Hindi, and the potato. Okay, these are some of the examples you should remember for the exam. That's it. And for the root modifications, we have carrot, radish, turnip and the sweet potato. Okay, so what are these carrot, radish and sweet potatoes modifications of? These are root modifications. So roots is the correct answer. Next question we have is, in a pitcher plant, the pitcher is made by modification of. Now in the previous question, we saw root modifications, we saw stem modifications, right? So in the similar way, there are also leaf modifications. This is the best example of leaf modification actually. So I'll show you the picture. See in this picture, such a beautiful picture it is. So in this pitcher plant, you see this bag like structure here. This bag like structure is nothing but the leaf of the plant. So what happens in pitcher plant is, there are some liquids and enzymes. Some enzymes and liquids are present in this bag of the plant. So what will happen? This rim is there, no? This outer part of the plant. This has very nice smell and this has some stickiness to it. So if, for example, an insect will sit here, no? It will get stuck to the plant and then it will fall into this bag. Okay. So after falling into this bag, these liquids and enzymes are present, no? These will kill the insect and this is eaten by the plant like this. So this is one of the mode for nutrition of the plant. Okay. And this bag like structure is derived from the leaf of that pitcher plant. So let's see the options for the pitcher plant. we have leaf, branches, stems, and flower. So the modification of this picture part of the picture plant is leaf. Now we'll see the next question. This question says, select the correct statements about the desert oak. So what is desert oak? Desert oak is actually a tree. Okay, it looks like this. And this tree is actually found in Australia. Now because this is growing in dry conditions, right? So it will try to absorb as much water as possible. So for example, let's say this is the tree. So it will have very long roots, like very long roots that will grow very deep into the soil to absorb as much water as it can. Okay, so this desert tree will have long roots and they are very strong also. They'll penetrate deep layers of soil also. Okay, so it has long and strong roots. Now what will happen if you cut this trunk part? No, it will have a lot of water and this water can be used for drinking purposes also. It is nice fresh water and this can be used for drinking purposes. Okay, so that is what you have to know about the desert oak. So now let's see the options. It is asking us to select the correct statements about this plant. So here we have some options. Let's see which statements are correct. It is a tree found in Australia. Yes, correct. It is a tree which is found in Australia. This is a special kind of tree which has its roots growing from its branches. No, we do not see any roots from its branches. Do you see any roots from its branches? No, this is the wrong option. So we'll cross it out. The roots of this tree go deep into the ground until they reach water. Correct. They are very long and they go very deep into the soil to find water. So this is also a correct option. This tree stores water in its trunk and local people use thin pipe to drink this water. Yes, correct option. Because we said no, this branch part, it acts like a glass and it will store water. And you can drink water from this plant because the water is very nice and fresh and pure. You can use it for drinking purposes. So local people, like the people from that village, no, they will use water to drink from this plant. So this is also the correct option. Now we have correct statements A, C and D. So where do we have these options? These options are present in option number 2, which is A, C and D. Okay. Next question. Select the right option of disease and its domestic cure. Okay, so we have to match, like match the following. We have to match this column to correct options in this column. Okay, so first disease we have is cut and wounds. So when you have a cut, this open cut can attract some bacteria, some very bad microorganisms which are very bad for health. Okay, so what do we do for cut and wounds? We use something antiseptic and antibacterial. So what does it mean? That no infection will happen, and if there are any bad microorganisms or bad bacteria which are present on the cuts and the wounds, it will kill those. It will not let it happen. So for cuts and wounds, we need something that is antiseptic and something that is antibacterial. So now we will look at the cure column of the options. Now here we have fresh coriander seeds. Do they have these properties? I don't think so. Then we have turmeric powder. Then we have fenugreek seeds and we have asafoetida powder. So out of all these 4 cures, turmeric powder is well known for its antiseptic and antibacterial properties. So option A can be matched with option 2. Now I'll tell you a simple trick for match the following. Once you match one of the options no, you look for that answer in the given options. Okay, now we matched A with 2. You search for in which of the options the A is matched with 2. Now see here, A is matched with 3, which is wrong. Here A is matched with 4, again wrong. Here A is matched with 1, again wrong. But A here in the fourth option is matched with option 4. Like option 2 it is correct, no? For option A. So option 4 should be the right answer for now. But you should check other options also if they are matching. Because sometimes what if there are two options in which option A here also there 2 is present. Then how will you match? So for that you have to check the remaining 3 options also to be sure. Okay. So next we have is simple fever. In simple fever we have very high temperature also, right? So we need something that will relax our body. So that relaxation is brought about by fenugreek seed teas. So fenugreek seed teas, these have anti-inflammatory properties. Anti-inflammatory properties means we have high temperature and body is weak, no? Like exhaustion will be there in simple fever. So these are all signs of inflammation. Your body is going through inflammation. So we need something that will target this inflammation. So this is done by fenugreek seeds tea. So this is one of the next cure. Option B is matching with option 3. Is it possible in option 4? Yes. Option B here is matching with option 3. Correct. Then we have swelling of the eyes. So in swelling of the eyes, what happens is, it's also a sign of inflammation. But for swelling of the eyes, that inflammation is targeted particularly by fresh coriander seeds. So if you make a tea of this fresh coriander seeds, no, they will reduce the swelling of the eyes. You know, swelling of the eyes, there will also be watery and redness will be there, no. Those properties are targeted by fresh coriander seeds. So for option C, we have to tick first option. So is it there in fourth option? Yes, correct. So automatically your fourth option will be correct also. For toothache, we use asafoetida powder. Asafoetida powder, what it does is that pain will be there, no? Like the toothache, too much pain will be there. That pain is targeted by the asafoetida powder. Okay, it acts like a painkiller, natural painkiller that can be put on tooths. Okay, so the option D, fourth option, is the correct answer, and it is coinciding. It is matching with our correct options also. So option 4 is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following statements is wrong? They want us to find out the false statements from the given options. Now let's see what are these options. Quinine is a malarial drug that is obtained from the plant cinchona. That is correct actually. So quinine, what happened, malaria disease is there, no? In that malaria disease you have high temperature, high fever, exhaustion, shivering is there. So to cure that we use quinine, which is the anti-malarial drug, and it is obtained from the plant called cinchona. So this statement is correct. Now next option we have is, rice is a good source of vegetable oil. Is rice a vegetable? How will you extract vegetable oil from rice? So this should be the wrong option, right? So according to us, for now, this is the wrong option. But we should see the next two options also to be sure. Okay. Pulses are rich sources of proteins. We say no, small children, they should eat dal a lot because dal is very rich in proteins, and proteins helps in the growth of the body. They are very important nutrient for the kids. Okay. So pulses are rich sources of protein. So this statement is also correct. Fourth option we have is, green vegetables are good sources of vitamins and minerals. Yes, green vegetables, best example I can give you is spinach. In Hindi we call it palak, right? So this spinach and such green vegetables are there, no? Like green leafy vegetables we call broccoli, spinach, and then we have curry leaves. These are all very good sources of vitamins and minerals, and these vitamins and minerals are very important for proper functioning of the body. Okay, like we have growth, and if we have to fight some diseases, no, these vitamins and minerals are very important, and these are present in very huge amounts in green vegetables, more specifically green leafy vegetables. Okay, so this statement is also correct. Now the question is asking which of the following statement is wrong. So from the following statements, the second statement is wrong. So our answer should be option 2. Rice is not a good source of a vegetable oil. Rice is not vegetable in the first place, right? So option 2 is the correct answer. Now this next question is the homework question for you all. I will read out the question and options for you, but you have to solve it on your own and you should tell me the answer in the comment section. Alright. So which of the following sentences is not true about the functions of the leaves? Leaves can store water and food. Leaves have tiny pipes to carry water and nutrients. Leaves of some plants help in reproduction. And leaves devoid of chlorophyll make food through photosynthesis. Okay, so these are 4 options. I hope you will be able to solve this question because we have studied all of the concepts related to these 4 options in the last 10 questions. Okay, and that is the end of the today's class, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this session a lot, and we tried our best to come up with the best, very important and most probable questions that can be asked in this exam. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you understood everything that was taught. And if you have any doubts, you can comment down in the comment section below, and you can also join our Telegram group. And it is an interactive group actually. You can ask us questions and we can answer your questions. Okay, and the link to that Telegram channel is in the description box below. You can also contact Atahar madam on Atahar TET Hstr courses @gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp her on the following number to join courses for Hstr, Gpstr, CRIS or TET. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed today's session. Please let us know in the comment section below if you want us to make such more content to help you with preparation. We will be glad to help you out for your preparation in the exam because we also want you to succeed. Okay, prepare well for the exam. See you in the next class. All the very best. Bye bye.